5 Lessons from How to ADHD, An Insider's Guide to Working with Your Brain by Jessica McCabe. Hello, and welcome to DeftU Insights. Today, we're diving into the brilliant world of understanding how our brains work, particularly when they operate a little differently from the norm. Many of us grapple with a persistent feeling that we're somehow falling short, battling internal chaos or external expectations that just don't seem to fit. We've all been told to try harder, but what if the problem isn't a lack of effort, but a mismatch in approach? In this episode, we'll explore 5 transformative lessons that encourage us to stop fighting our natural inclinations and instead build a life that genuinely supports our unique way of thinking. These insights offer practical strategies for daily life, helping you navigate challenges with greater self-compassion and effectiveness. If you've ever felt like you're constantly pushing uphill, these lessons are for you. Lesson 1. Stop trying harder, start trying different. For many, life feels like a constant battle to meet expectations that never quite align with their innate capabilities. This often leads to a cycle of intense effort, followed by frustration, fueled by the mistaken belief that if we just try harder, we'll finally overcome our challenges. But this relentless pursuit often leads to burnout and a deep sense of failure, not because of a lack of commitment, but because the strategies we're using are fundamentally misaligned with how our brains actually function. The first powerful lesson is to abandon the try harder mentality and instead commit to trying different. This shift begins with radical self-compassion, recognizing that your struggles aren't a moral failing, but a sign that the conventional path might not be your most effective one. Instead of forcing yourself into a neurotypical mold, pause and observe where your current approaches are falling short. Are you constantly forgetting appointments despite using a digital calendar? Maybe a physical whiteboard or a trusted human assistant is a better fit. Are you feeling overwhelmed by complex organizational systems? Perhaps a simple, single-step method would serve you better. The goal here is not to fix yourself, but to understand your unique operating system and then build a personalized toolkit. Imagine you're trying to hammer a nail with a screwdriver. No matter how hard you try, it's not the right tool for the job. You'll exhaust yourself, feel defeated, and the nail still won't be in. The solution isn't to hit harder with the screwdriver, it's to find a hammer. Experiment with different tools, environments, and approaches. Give yourself permission to fail forward, learning from each attempt, until you discover what genuinely resonates with your brain's natural rhythms. This allows you to redirect your immense potential and effort towards strategies that actually work, leading to sustainable progress and a profound reduction in self-judgment. Lesson 2. Engineer your focus. Don't just wish for it. Many of us experience focus not as a choice, but as an elusive, often frustrating quest. We might feel deep shame for our wandering minds, constantly battling distractions while pretending to be present. The truth is, it's not a lack of attention, but a challenge with regulating its intensity and direction. Our brains are incredibly adept at absorbing all stimuli, making it hard to filter out what isn't immediately engaging. This also explains why we can sometimes fall into what's known as hyperfocus, where we become so absorbed in an interesting task that the world around us disappears, often leading to forgotten meals or missed appointments. The second lesson is to actively engineer your focus rather than passively hoping for it to appear. Think of your brain like a plant that needs specific light, water, and soil to thrive. You wouldn't just tell it to grow, you'd create the optimal environment. Start by boosting the signal of what you need to focus on and decreasing the noise of distractions. This could mean intentionally designing your workspace, clearing clutter, using noise-canceling headphones, or even having a fidget toy to provide just enough background stimulation to keep your mind from seeking its own. When your thoughts inevitably stray, practice gentle, non-judgmental redirection. Keep a parking lot notepad nearby to jot down sudden, urgent ideas or brilliant thoughts that interrupt your flow. Writing them down defers the need to act on them immediately, allowing you to return to your current task without losing those insights. And for those powerful hyper-focus sessions, leverage them. Schedule dedicated time for tasks you love, but also install guardrails, like alarms, to pull you back to reality. Remember to leave breadcrumbs, notes on what you just did and what you plan to do next, to make re-entry into the task easier later. By actively designing your environment and internal strategies, you transform focus from a fleeting hope into a trainable skill. Lesson 3. Design life systems that actually stick. How many times have you enthusiastically started a new organizational system, bought all the fancy planners and color-coded everything, only for it to collapse within weeks? This common experience isn't a sign of personal failure, but rather a clash with a critical set of cognitive abilities called executive functions. These are the brain's central command for planning, prioritizing, and staying on track. For many, these functions develop differently, making standard systems frustratingly hard to maintain. Our third lesson is to design life systems that genuinely work for your brain, not for an idealized version of yourself. The key is to reduce the sheer volume of things you need to manage. Can you delegate entire areas of responsibility, like having your partner handle all grocery shopping, rather than just asking them to pick up milk? Can you simplify your physical environment by practicing a degree of minimalism, owning fewer items to reduce clutter and the cognitive load of managing them? And crucially, learn to say no more often to new commitments that threaten to overwhelm your existing capacity. Next, accommodate yourself, much like you'd use a step stool to reach a high shelf. Add temporary scaffolding when learning new tasks, like checklists for a new morning routine, and gradually remove them. Invest in tools that intrinsically motivate you, like a beautiful planner or a fun app. Build around your existing habits. If you always drop your keys on the counter, put a decorative bowl there for them, rather than trying to force yourself to hang them up. This isn't about laziness, it's about intelligent design. Embrace that progress is rarely linear, and systems need to be flexible. By building what works for you, you create sustainable structures that reduce overwhelm and allow you to thrive. Lesson 4. Ignite your motivation from the inside out. Have you ever stared at an important task knowing you should do it, but felt an inexplicable resistance, a brain-wide nope? This common internal conflict, often driven by a preference for immediate gratification over long-term goals, can lead to cycles of procrastination and last-minute scrambling. Our brains aren't always driven by perceived importance, especially for tasks that are lengthy, repetitive, or boring. Instead, they respond powerfully to what is urgent, new, appropriately challenging, or deeply aligned with personal interest. The fourth lesson is to understand and strategically ignite your unique motivational triggers. Since our brains crave stimulation, we need to inject it into mundane tasks. Can you add artificial urgency? Invite friends over, setting a firm deadline for tidying up. Can you find the right level of challenge? Break a large project into smaller, achievable steps, like a video game with mini bosses before the final boss. Or tie a task to a personal interest. Maybe you listen to a specific podcast only while doing laundry. Reduce friction by doing what you can ahead of time. Lay out your gym clothes the night before to lower the activation energy for a morning workout. Remove physical obstacles. If a messy desk is a barrier to starting work, clear just one small corner. And harness accountability. Find a productivity partner for body doubling or shorten feedback loops by asking for earlier deadlines. Don't forget the power of meaningful, immediate rewards. Instead of a distant goal, reward yourself with 5 minutes of a favorite activity immediately after completing a challenging segment. By actively engaging these motivational planks, you can bridge the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it, turning internal resistance into momentum. Lesson 5. Transform challenges into unique strengths. For too long, living with a brain that functions differently has been framed as a deficit to be overcome, something to be masked or minimized. We've often internalized harsh labels, pushing ourselves to conform to a neurotypical world, often at great personal cost. But this perspective overlooks a profound truth. Many of the traits that present as challenges are, in fact, the flip side of unique and powerful strengths. Our final lesson encourages us to embrace our authentic selves, transforming perceived challenges into unique strengths and fostering a deeper sense of self-compassion. For instance, emotional intensity, often seen as a weakness or emotion dysregulation, can also manifest as profound empathy, passionate advocacy, and a deep capacity for joy and connection. The impulsivity that can lead to interruptions might also be the spark for spontaneous creativity, quick decision-making, or an adventurous spirit. The restless curiosity that makes you easily distracted could also be the engine of divergent thinking, connecting disparate ideas to innovate. It's crucial to challenge the narrative that you must fix yourself to fit. Instead, learn to appreciate how your brain works, not just its impairments. Use diagnostic labels not as limitations, but as a framework for understanding and accessing support, replacing shame with clarity. And critically, lean into your unique strengths. What comes easily to you, even if it feels mundane? Double down on those areas. Recognize that interdependence is not a weakness. No one is good at everything. Just as a diverse ecosystem thrives from different species contributing, our communities flourish when individuals leverage their unique ways of thinking and supporting each other. By celebrating your authentic self, you not only empower your own journey, but also inspire others to embrace their own unique brilliance, creating a more inclusive and understanding world. Conclusion. The journey to understanding and thriving with a neurodivergent brain is rarely linear. It's filled with moments where old strategies crumble and new paths emerge. The key is to constantly adapt, learn, and extend profound self-compassion. By stopping the frantic effort to conform, engineering your focus, designing systems that truly support you, strategically igniting your motivation, and embracing your unique strengths, you can build a life that is not just manageable, but deeply fulfilling. Your brain isn't broken, it's simply wired differently, offering a unique perspective and a wealth of untapped potential. The power lies in understanding that difference and building a life around it rather than constantly fighting against it. If one of these lessons resonated with you, try incorporating it into your day this week. And if you found this episode helpful, please like and subscribe to DeftU Insights to keep these valuable lessons coming. Thank you for listening.